I was almost snoring. Welcome to Community Crossfire and another point of view. I'm your host, Norman Oliver. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another exciting show. Matter of fact, this could be one of the most important. I mean, a lot of times I talk about the importance of the shows because I'm kind of biased. But when we talk about health insurance, when we just talk about insurance, this has to be one of the main issues in the country. Now it's becoming one of the main issues in the state. I've been walking around our communities for the last couple of weeks, and people were like, well, Norm, when are you going to get the insurance commissioners on? Because these are the issues that we want to talk about. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to announce that we have the candidates here. We're going to open up the phone lines like we usually do. We're going to crossfire. Also, let me give a shout out to Kevin Carr, my good friend Kevin Carr. Last week, he started me out with a Facebook page and he got me on Twitter and he wants to streamline the show and all that good stuff. Then I called my friend Mike Rowley and they putting it on YouTube. So this stuff is really taking off because so many people are starting to watch and be interested in this show, and because we give you a quality program. Next week, we're going to have the Chief of Police. We've been talking so much about crime. The Chief of Police is going to be here. Before I begin, what the hell is going on with Pincater School? Why don't they just shut that place down? I know somebody's going to call and get on me, and I know I say some crazy stuff, but I don't even want to go there. Because that take a whole nother show. And then where's Tom Wagner at? It must not be an election year for this guy, because any other time he'd be sticking his nose in something. What else I want to say? I want to give a shout out to my sister and my nephew, Deon Oliver. How you guys doing? Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We have Mitch, we have Karen, we have Paul, we have Dennis. How you guys doing?
We're doing great.
I think what we're going to do is if you guys could tell us a little bit about yourself in a minute, and then because we're going to be doing some crossfire here, I'm going to ask a few questions, and we're going to open up the phone lines. You want to start out, Mitch?
I'd be happy to. Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Mitch Crane. I'm the endorsed Democratic candidate for Delaware Insurance Commissioner, also endorsed by the Delaware State Education Association. I'm a graduate of Lincoln University and Weldin University School of Law. Served 6 years as an elected judge in Westchester. Retired, went back to a law firm, and was recruited by then Commissioner Matt Dent to be his regulatory counsel. And I worked at the department until January 2011. And a year ago, I decided that Delaware needs an insurance commissioner who is pro-consumer and more than just words. And I decided I'm going to be that person, and that's why I'm running.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Karen Weldin Stewart. I've been on this show many times, and it's nice to be here this evening with you. I'm a resident of Wilmington. I grew up in Delaware. I graduated from Claymont High School and Brandywine College here in Delaware. I was a deputy receiver with the Delaware Department of Insurance for a number of years. I've been in the regulatory insurance field for 24 years. I've been your insurance commissioner for the past 3 years, and I've been a big consumer advocate, which is the proof is in the pudding. I've recovered over $6 million for policyholders from insurance companies that weren't paying you, and I've issued the largest fines in the history of the insurance department against insurance companies that were not obeying the law, $3.3 million. So I'd like the chance to be your commissioner again and work hard for you, as I have been doing for the last 3 years as a city resident. Thank you.
Paul?
Thank you, Norman. Nice to be here tonight. Appreciate having me on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a lifelong resident of Delaware also. I grew up in Old Newcastle, went to Slade-Yanham School, graduated from the University of Delaware. My wife and my 2 children also went to school here and graduated from the University of Delaware. I have been in the insurance industry for 36 years and feel that my on-the-ground experience day to day with the insurance consumers in Delaware makes me uniquely qualified to be the insurance commissioner of Delaware.
Okay. Dennis?
Well, first I want to thank all the residents or the citizens of the state, and particularly of Wilmington, for welcoming me into their homes, their community centers, and their churches, and for sharing with me their experiences. I am a lifelong Delawarean. I graduated from Delaware Public Schools. My wife graduated. My children graduated. I've practiced law here as a negotiator for 36 years. I'm the only candidate that has served his country during a time of war, during Vietnam, his state as Deputy Attorney General, both in the criminal and the civil division, his party, and most importantly, the men and women of this state, small businesses. And I think I'm uniquely qualified because I want to combine those skills with the personal experiences I've had, having had a wife that's had 6 bouts of cancer in 25 years and a brother who just passed away from cancer after a 10-year battle. I am you. I have had the experiences that all of you have had, and healthcare is my first priority.
Thank you. Let's start this off. I think it was interesting what you just said, Mitch, that you were endorsed by the teachers and also the Democratic Party. Karen, you are the sitting commissioner, right? I mean, how does that make you feel? I mean, and we can all chime in. I mean, I don't know if you guys got an opportunity to get endorsed. I mean, you got endorsed by the teachers and the state Democratic Party. How does that make you feel?
Well, you know, it's nice to receive the endorsement of the executive committee of the Democratic Party, but this party the executive committee has never endorsed me, so I really didn't expect the endorsement, but the people of Delaware has always supported me, and that's who counts when they go to the polls, when they endorse you. And Norman, by the way, the city of Wilmington did endorse me, and I am a resident of the city of Wilmington, and I am a member of the city committee, and I have been since 1978.
Yeah. Well, Mitch, why do you think the state? Let's go with this the state committee. Why or the teacher? Why do you think they endorsed you over an incumbent?
Yeah, that's a good question. If you had told me a year ago this would be the case, I would think there's something wrong with you. But
did you
quite
work for her?
frankly, Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did. For 2 years, I was the acting director of consumer services as well as the regulatory council. An incumbent running for re-election knows that an election is therefore about the incumbent's record. And what the Democratic Party wants and always wants are people who are going to serve the needs of the voters and the residents of the state, not corporations, not big business, not insurance companies. The Democratic Party almost always endorses incumbents for re-election, certainly in statewide offices. To not be endorsed when you are the incumbent means that the party believes that there's something wrong with the record. And the record is wrong. The record is wrong because instead of hiring good Delaware citizens to work in good Delaware jobs as state employees, you hire people by contract from Chicago and pay them $17,000 a month to head the captive bureau. There's nobody in the state of Delaware capable of doing that job. While at the same time, you had people working in the department through Kelly Services being paid $17,000 a year with no benefits whatsoever, mostly single mothers. It's that type of issue. When you have consumers who are looking out for good insurance and finding out, well, your rates keep on going up because the commissioner in the first 3 years approves every rate increases. You have people out there looking for options in insurance, and there's lack of competition out there. And when you find, yes, there are fines being levied, you know how the fines are levied? By consent agreement. 3 years, no hearings held whatsoever. When I worked under Matt Den, we had hearings almost every week. Fines were levied, and companies got in line.
Let other guys get involved. Good.
Certainly.
Paul or Dennis, would you guys want to join in on this?
Well, Norm, I never expected to get the endorsement of the party. Mr. Crane got into this thing a year ago. I got in February. And the reason I got in is, like I said early on, is I have 36 years experience in insurance. That's all I've ever done. And I think that's very important. And to politicize the office, I think the citizens of Delaware actually want somebody that actually knows insurance for a change.
What do you mean by politicize the office?
I feel that right now, by the Democrats, they're not endorsing the most qualified candidates. I feel with my 36 years experience being a licensed agent in the state, plus having more experience in insurance than these 3 candidates combined, I feel that I'm the most qualified, and that's why I decided to run.
Dennis, you have a comment on this? That's what I say. Let's get fired up in here.
I like to say that I'm humble, but my wife, I know, who's out there,
You can't be humble in here.
is laughing right now, and I told her that you can't be humble when you're running for office. But I think each of us is running because we think we're the best candidate. The fact of the matter is that my credentials, why the party and the State Teachers Union took the action they took, I have no idea. But as Paul stated, really, it's the voters of this state, the Democrats, who will ultimately make the final decision. And the decision this year, as Norm, you stated, is absolutely critical. We often hear we're at a crossroads. We are really at a crossroads right now because the next insurance commissioner is going to be the one who's going to have to integrate the affordable health care plan with a state plan and fill in the gaps. And believe me, when I ran for Congress in 2005 against then Congressman Castle, I think I showed in that election that I wouldn't back off, that I would go toe-to-toe with anyone. And one of my major issues there was health care. I've been dealing with health care since 1988. There's no one who understands how to put a sensible, affordable, and accessible program together for all the citizens of the state than myself.
Let me change the subject a little bit, but it's still on the subject. Let's talk about this Highmark. I mean, you could chime in. Did you want to say something?
Yes, because I was attacked. and
Yeah,
thought
I want you to
should have a
attack back
chance
in. You can attack back on the show.
Oh, I have.
Go ahead. You good?
First off, the contractor who runs the captive division, there was a nationwide search through an RFP. And so when you have a nationwide search, a national search, and you have RFPs presented, then you review the RFPs. I wasn't part of the committee that picks the person who runs the captive division. Also, the captive division is a joint venture between the Secretary of State's office and the insurance department, and it's the Secretary of State's office that provides the funding for the director, who is by statute to be a contractor. There is no state job for a director at this point.
So this person flying in from Chicago had nothing to do with you, pretty much?
He was picked by a group through an RFP, and we do not pay for his expenses.
No.
There are 30 other states that have now copied, and it's very hard to find a director, but we did have an RFP, and people applied. We advertised nationally.
So you basically saying you were free. Well, Mitch, you made that
Let me respond.
allegation. Yeah, go ahead.
The director, and he's a fine man, by the way, name is Steve Kenyon. Check out the financial reports from the 2008 campaign, major contributor to the commissioner's campaign. When she took office, he was introduced as the next deputy commissioner, but the Office of Management and Budget refused to pay the pay that we were talking about, and then suddenly the director of the captive bureau is gone, and this person becomes the director. So if the commissioner had nothing to do with this, certainly people who knew her did. What a coincidence that we hired somebody who was a contributor and heavily involved in the campaign, as was the next person hired to work at that bureau.
But that's some serious allegations.
Yes.
It's almost like some illegal stuff going on.
Not illegal at all, just wrong for the people of Delaware.
So basically, you're saying it's political payback.
It is. It's not
I
illegal.
mean, when you say, you could jump in.
Norm, what I think is that I don't care how it went down. As insurance commissioner of Delaware, the money that's brought into this state by the premiums, taxes that we tax premiums from insurance companies,
Right.
that brings money in. That money's going to stay here under my administration. The jobs in the insurance department will be Delawareans. The contractors will be Delawareans. The attorneys we need down there will be Delawareans. All the money will stay here. It's not going to go out of state.
And go ahead. Would that have anything to do? I mean, because someone said that the AG's office. Someone sent me a question. Said the AG's office was against the merger because the state had billions of dollars involved, and now now Highmark is in Pennsylvania. I mean, could someone explain that to me? Well, you
Sure.
can explain
Well,
them.
the state was originally opposed because it viewed it as violating a state statute. The statute that allegedly was being violated was changed by the legislature so that the affiliation would be permissible.
Well, if they did that, that means they thought that it was a good deal.
That's correct. However, you have to remember that the Attorney General also is looking out for the interests of this state.
Right.
And as a member of the Attorney General's office, I was not directly involved in this, but I know that there were discussions with Attorney General Biden and others who said that notwithstanding the legislature's action, that conditions needed to be imposed to make sure that the monies that Blue Cross had in its fund were used for Delaware purposes. And that's why the Attorney General's office stepped in. Now, Dennis, I don't want to
interject, but I mean, because people are watching, and a lot of people are getting confused, and it appears to me, I'm even confused. If the Attorney General, right, says it's wrong, why would the legislators go over him and say it's right, and we're going to lose money?